because if you're watching this, you are a bad bitch, you're a goddess, you're a queen, and don't ever let anybody tell you otherwise. You landed on this video for a reason.
1, 2, 3.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, the spiritual bad bitch. My name is Anila Sita. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. If you're back to my channel, thank you so much for the support. Today we are talking about some divine feminine shit, okay? And a personal experience I had going to a retreat out here in Bali for 6 days. I'm gonna be sharing a lot of my personal shit that I've gone through in my life for the sake of helping people. You know I value authenticity and vulnerability, so that's what we're gonna do up in this bitch. I really want to help you step into your power and recognize what a fucking amazing goddess you are. So let me share my story with you. So I went to a retreat out here, which was a womb healing retreat. I originally went with the intention to heal my intimacy issues, my severe period pain, and also to connect to my sexuality, because I have been really disconnected from my sexuality. I felt very numb a lot of the time in the past when I had sex, and I felt like Bali was the right time for me to figure out why that is the case. It's very funny how I found this retreat. If you ever plan to go to Bali, understand that if you set an intention to heal something out here or to find something or someone, you will find that person, like, or that situation, or whatever it is that you need, because Bali, I feel, really supports anyone in their growth. So I was talking to my friend on the phone saying like, oh, I really want to go to a womb healing, but I didn't really know where to look. I just kind of planted the seed to the universe and then allowed the universe to deliver it to me, which happened one day. I was driving on my motorbike past this street, and I drove past the shop, and something in my whole body was like, go to that shop. And I was a bit like, the fuck no, because sometimes I struggle to trust my intuition and to go with that instinct. Part of me was like, I'm just too curious right now, because why did my whole body feel like I need to go into that shop? So I pulled over, walked back to the shop. I walk in, and the first thing I fucking see is a flyer that talks about a womb healing retreat. So I knew straight away I was guided to this. I meant to go to this retreat. And I just wanted to add, like, I had the realization when I came to Bali that something was wrong with my womb. Not like something was wrong with it, but just I had my first period here in Bali like in March or February or something, and it was so horrific. I mean, I remember I even had codeine with me, and not even codeine, which is like a strong ass painkiller, was able to numb the pain. You know, I'm really spiritual, and I believe that every physical ailment or situation that we have is not there to fuck us up. It's trying to bring our attention to, you know, a bigger issue at hand that we've been turning a blind eye to. The reason why we have painful periods is usually because of womb trauma, or, you know, if we were shut down in our childhood and we weren't able to express ourselves. It's like, as women, our womb holds so much wisdom. Everything gets recorded like a video down there. It's like when we have sexual trauma happen to us, which I'm gonna get into, what happens is it shuts us up. Like, so the sacral chakra, which is the second one, which is our sexual and creative chakra, is connected to our throat chakra. And when some kind of sexual trauma is done to us down there, it blocks the sacral chakra, and the block of the sacral chakra also blocks this one. Because think of it, like, the sacral chakra, the sexual one, is there to express. So think that those are the chakras of expression. This one is the one we speak out of, and this one is our sexual and creative expression. Does that make sense? So when one of them shuts down, usually the other does too, and this is something I also learned in the retreat. Let me get into like this retreat actually happening. So the retreat was at the end of March. There were loads of exercises where we had to open up. Like, I remember on the first day we had to like walk around the room just looking at our feet, and then we had to find another woman's feet and hold her hands and then like look into her eyes without saying anything. And it was a really vulnerable exercise, actually. Like, I just felt myself being very seen, and that can be scary too. And I think that was the whole point of that retreat, to allow parts of myself to be seen that I didn't really allow anywhere else to be seen. Then one day I opened up about my experience of being sexually abused, which the first time I am talking about this on a YouTube video, but I do want to share it because I think that there will probably be women in my audience who've gone through the same, and I always share stuff for the sake of helping people. Without going into it too much, I heard from around 4 different shamanic healers that I'd been sexually abused in my childhood. I don't know if this is true because I don't remember anything, and I personally did not see any kind of visions yet that could confirm that that is true. But anyways, it's not really about getting into that. 4 healers who didn't know each other and didn't know anything about me said that I'd been sexually abused in my childhood. So then I went to this one shamanic healer, and I didn't even go to him to heal my sexual trauma. I went to him for something entirely different, but he straight away was like, you know, wanting to heal that. And a big part of me was not ready or wanting to do that, but I wasn't empowered to say no. I just kind of went with it. What ended up happening is he ended up putting his hands on my lady part, like between my legs, and was like moving it around as a way to jog my memory and make me remember my sexual trauma from my childhood, which, to be fucking honest, it was not happening. And I remember feeling terrified in that moment. His intention, I mean, I don't think that was really his intention, but he said his intention was to help me by jogging my memory and to heal me. But really what he was doing was sexually abusing me and just causing more trauma for me. That was a very uncomfortable experience. So I opened up about that at the retreat. For 6 days, we were not allowed to use our phones, or at least we were urged not to, which I did do. And we were by an ocean, like completely isolated, so that the healing could properly incorporate, I guess. We had to do stuff like dancing with our eyes closed. We had to do shaking, which is like when you shake your whole body in order to shake negative emotion. And there was another exercise that we had to do, which was there to help us connect to our body, because there's so much shame around women and our bodies, our naked bodies particularly. You know, with stuff like porn out there and social media, magazines, whatever the case may be, it's really easy for us to judge our bodies. So what we had to do is, it was an exercise with 2 or 3 girls, where one girl would get the chance to share every single body part of herself that she feels insecure about and why, and if there's any stories related to that, like from foot to head. And then she would have to get undressed, like show herself completely naked in front of the girls. After showing herself naked, she had to lay flat on the floor, and then the 2 girls or 3 girls had to go to all the body parts that she was talking about her insecurities and touch it and go, say if it was like she didn't like her feet, you would touch the feet and go, these are the feet of a goddess. Or if it was like, you know, her coochie or whatever, it would be like, this is the pussy of a goddess, you know? And if I'm being honest, that exercise was fucking life-changing. I really enjoyed doing it. I also saw women's bodies through a completely different lens. I remember this one woman who demonstrated the exercise. She had to say her insecurities in front of the whole group of women, and then she got undressed, and I remember she stood there like so empowered and was like, this is me, you know? And I just remember feeling such respect for her. I felt really honored to be part of that experience, and when I had to do it, it really helped me to feel seen. I don't know, maybe do this with your friends if you want to. Like, I think this is such a cool exercise, and I would love to do this at like a sleepover, just to help like women connect more with their power and love themselves fully. I mean, wow, it was an incredible exercise. I had to switch location. Right, so now let me get to the part where shit was getting really intense. On the second last day of the retreat, I actually ended up getting my period. And in the past, I have always taken painkillers, which at this point don't really work anymore for me. And I think that was my body's way as well of saying it's time to stop with the painkillers and actually look at what the pain is trying to tell me. Because as I said in the beginning, any kind of bodily issues that we have are always trying to call our attention to something bigger. Pain is a signal telling you something's not right. And for me, it was, you know, just having to face certain womb trauma and trauma in general. I remember my period pain got so severe that in the morning when I got it, I was all right. I was able to breathe through it, which was really good, but I had like these horrible waves of pain all day. And I feel like when it got really bad, I had to leave. In the middle of doing these sessions, I had to leave. And there was one session, I think right before I got my period, and basically this psychic healer woman came and we all had to scream in a circle. And I remember like I really wanted to scream, but a part of me felt like my throat was locked. I wasn't able to scream. So she came up to me and she pressed into I think my left ovary, and all of a sudden it unlocked a torturous scream that came out of me that I didn't even know was in me. And I had like images play in my head that I couldn't really make out what it even was, of just, I think, all of the trauma that was like stored in my womb through so many years and was being released through that scream. So then when my period actually came, I felt again like I needed to scream. Like there was just this sensation in my body, like I need to scream, but I'm gonna need someone to initiate that shit for me because my throat was just really blocked. I remember when the horrible wave of the period pain came, I left this group session and I laid outside on the grass, and I had these involuntary memories from my childhood flash through my head of times where my dad wasn't around and how unloved that made me feel, or how my mom was always working or choosing boyfriends like over her kids, like over us. And I'm not saying this to bash my parents because it's not about that. I recognize that my parents did the best they could and I'm not holding that grudge, and I think that's why it's kept me so long from healing this trauma, because I had such compassion for them and I know that they've been through a lot of trauma, that a big part of me was like, I'm not gonna even entertain those thoughts and feelings because I know they did their best. But sometimes for healing purposes, you do have to visit those places again in your head so that you can fully feel the emotion that was just meant to be felt. Like emotions are not here to fuck our experience up or to make us feel like shit forever. They're actually just here to be felt in the moment. And then when you allow yourself to feel them, you can release them again after that. So I really felt that in the moment there too. I mean, I was just crying and it was horrible while I was going through it. I really didn't want to, and a big part of me was like, oh, I would rather just go back to the room and take some painkillers. But I'd really committed to the whole no painkiller thing since I'd been taking painkillers my whole life, to see what would surface that I'd been numbing for so many years with painkillers. And it was obviously that trauma from my past of feeling so neglected. There was also a girl named Jamie that asked me a question that really connected me to my period pain, because she told me she'd always had really bad period pain. It'd been 3 months for her that she'd not had any period pain. And I was like, wow, I mean, that was inspiring for me to hear that that's even possible, because I've been so used to going through my life with severe period pain. She ended up telling me that she was seeing this, like a healer woman that asked her, why are you holding on to the period pain? What are you getting from holding on to that pain? What is it serving you? Because the truth is, like, you have the power to change your experience. You're the creator of your reality. So if every single month you're going through the same cycle, that's trying to show you something. And it's like, again, a situation where you can choose to be in victim mode and being like, no, this is not something I'm choosing. I'm just fucked and I just have bad luck and that's just the way it is. Or you can take responsibility for the fact that you're creating this experience and ask yourself, why are you holding on to it? So she really opened my eyes with that. And I realized for myself, the answer to that question is, I didn't receive a lot of compassion or attention as a kid. So my period pain was like a cry for help to receive that. And I had female family members as well downplay my period pain and being like, oh, we're women as well, we all get our periods, it's not that bad. When in actuality, my period pain was so severe at times that I would throw up from the pain. It wasn't fun, and that to me was a bit like, the fuck are you telling me it's not that bad? And I can recognize now that it's almost like I manifested really bad pain as a way to be like, poor me, look at me throwing up, this proof to you how bad my pain is. And again, as a way to receive the attention that I didn't get. My brother always got exceptions to things, like just because he was a boy. So, and it was this really messed up thing in my family of like the men were always catered to, but like fuck the women's opinions, they're just here to serve. Back to the story, one of the healer women at the retreat ended up coming to the grass when I was crying out these memories, and then I told her I need to scream, so we went to my room, and then she like pressed on both of my ovaries, and it was like a good, I would say maybe 15 to 20 minutes of screaming. And I remember like the support I felt from the women there too was, you know, that girl Jamie I was talking about, she at some point like came up to me and she gave my stomach a kiss, like my womb, and it's like, it sounds like such a simple small thing, but it really made me realize how all I really needed during the times where I had my period that would have probably made my period be less painful is support and love. All I needed was just someone to give me attention and compassion. That day that I went through all that pain, it was the first time I ever felt like I was connected to my womb. My teen years, it was something that I turned a blind eye to. It was like a part of my body, a really important part of my body, but I would hate myself for the painful periods. Like I would hate my womb and just be like, oh fuck you, you're fucking up my life. I have these plans to do certain things, and then the pain comes in and I have to like just be with it, you know? And so I would use painkillers to numb that and just be like, you know what, this is just the time of the month, I'm gonna pretend that you don't exist because I hate you, and then go about my life after the period is done. And I realized that is like low-key hating my womanhood. It's like resenting the fact that I am a woman, because having your period is natural. I was so disconnected from my womb, and I think that that plays a big part into our sexuality and who we are as women. Like, who are we as women if we're not connected to our wombs? I am learning to listen to my womb and recognize that she deserves attention and love, and I do this thing where I put my hand on my womb and I say, I feel you, I hear you, and I see you. You will be surprised at how many downloads you can get by putting your hand on your womb. You know, even if you get like infections down there. It also taught me that memories are locked in your womb. So whether you want to suppress shit or not, your womb is not going to do that, and it's just going to manifest as horrible pain or as just issues with your reproductive system, which is like, it's such an important part of your body, you know? Why would you not want to face that? Why would you not want to learn to communicate with your womb and be in touch with her? There was also stuff at the retreats like speaking our truth when it comes to sexual stuff. So the way that a lot of men are conditioned is in the bedroom, they will go straight for the coochie instead of paying attention to all the other body parts, when in actuality, like, women's bodies don't always function that way. However we feel, whether like we're horny or not, it is actually nicer to connect with all the body parts on us and not just between our legs. And then maybe to get to that later, building anticipation. And it's about really tuning into what it is that you want, because ultimately every woman is different. Every woman is going to want something different, and honoring that and expressing that and not having any fucking shame about it. But I really hope that this video opens someone's eyes and helps you connect to your femininity, your womb, and that you found this story interesting or entertaining or whatever the case may be. Thank you so much for getting to this point. I appreciate the support so much, and I'm sending you so much love and light.